Hello, everyone. First off, can you hear me? I'm not sure if you're there. If yes, please let me know before making my intro and stuff. I want just to see that I'm not talking alone. Hmm. Ah. In the meantime, if you are there, how are you? How do you feel today? And thanks for coming. Thanks for coming to this new episode. Uh, Buen día, Humberto de la Cruz. Hi, how are you? Ivan, thanks for coming again, man. Thank you. And thanks for waking up so early. uh, Nurture, I don't know how to pronounce Nurturing Life. Hey, Pete, good morning. Oh, good morning. Good morning. So, okay, I think I'm online. So, uh, what I want to say? Oh, yeah. My name is Pete, and this is Ifan Tips podcast. Thanks for coming again. And I'm kind of, I don't know, pretty excited just because I have to confess something. I was doing my homework 5 minutes before the teacher, reviewing the work. um, just because I have a busy week, but also I've been exploring in these 2 weeks everything about Swift macros, which is the main topic of this podcast. But I don't know. I tried to create my own example to you to say, okay, this is why macros are useful. Um, but to be honest, I get quite some time to understand how to get it. And once I get it, I just try to, burn the keyboard just to get it on time. And I think I did it kind of. I got one little issue that maybe we can solve online with you here. Uh, that's why you maybe will see me shaking, but that's just something I wanted to share. Uh, well, I was reading the comments. Awesome, and thank you again for the people that are coming back after some episodes already. I think I will share later in the description the previous episodes. Um, we are right now in the number 5, which is wow, a lot. And I really love to do this content, this format, because one of the issues that you have as a content creator is that you I mean, you are just one person. If you're just one person, um, you have to either code, investigate, or editing, right? Post production. So if you are working with Final Cut and other stuff, you are not coding, you are not actually doing more researching, and you're not scripting. And I mean, you have to do everything sequential, and that's kind of tedious sometimes. And I wanted just to provide some uh, learning right away instead of waiting a video that maybe took weeks of work. And by the way, I have only, I mean, if I'm pretty lucky, I probably have 1.5 hours every day in the morning to complete the work or maintaining this uh, channel alive. And not even the YouTube channel, also the social media. Every day, one of my challenges is always say what I will share today, because if you want to create content, that's the way you should do. If you're just posting randomly every month, no one will follow you, right? So, well, that's kind of a journey why we're still doing this, and I'm pretty love to do this. Even later, I'm planning just to having guests on this podcast. I don't know if they will be live sessions or recorded, but anyway, I think there are a lot of people around that have great content and great experience that could share here. So cool. Okay, so before getting started to the main topic, I just wanted just to mm, share something that I also shared in Twitter and other platforms, which is uh, a news from Apple. Let me share my screen. Actually, today I prepare. I better prepare for this session. You will see what I'm talking about in just a moment. Just wanted to generate a new window here. Come on. Okay. I'm using two uh, screens, not just one, because last time I guess it was pretty large. Ultra wide screen is not good to sharing content. Let me go to Twitter. Actually, let me share my screen, by the way. Where am I? Where am I? Screen number. There we go. Screen one. Yeah, you're seeing my screen now. You're seeing my Twitter. And Vincent Pradet is there. Let me review just the chat. I'm not sure. Not sure. Not sure. I'm not sure what you are sharing here. Could you just provide more context? Thanks. Let me go to my Twitter here, and let me scroll it down. Oh, first off, I saw this. I don't know. What do you think? Is this the quarter results from Apple, which they got 81.8 billion in revenue? That's insane. I mean, I don't know. You tell me. And you can see here, the where's the revenue coming from, right? 20%, no, not 20%, but I guess no, even more. 25% is almost just from services. That's amazing. Apple is becoming a service company and not so much just a hardware company like always. Although iPhone is still the king here with almost the half of the revenue. That's insane. But look at that. This is kind of the cost that they generate. That look how, I mean, compared to the revenue, it's like the amount of taxes they pay. Wow, it's pretty minimal. And at the end, net profit almost $20 billion in revenue. I think that's more than many countries together, just from a company. That's insane. What do you think? So, Nature is saying, is there, if there is a macro in Objective C and we can use in Swift, I'm not sure. If there is a macro in Objective C and we can use in Swift, then what is Swift macro? Not so. I'm sorry, but I'm not fully understanding what you're saying. Um, first off, I'm not familiar with other macros in other languages. I just read that exists macros in C, but that's my knowledge so far. I don't know if they are better, bad, or compared to Swift. So then Umberto is saying AirPods and watches are more than MacBooks. Uh, yeah, it looks like that, right? Excuse me. The thing is, I don't know. It's kind of uh, curious, right? So um, normally, why would you buy a computer or a MacBook in this case, right? You want it just to Google it, to Google in on it, or just for Facebook? No, right? It's because you want to work on it most of the time. It, if this is not the plan, probably you will buy an iPad just to chilling, right? And yeah, just having that in mind makes sense because MacBook has become a pretty niche product just for people to work or just something with that. There's no way to spend I don't know $1,200 just for a computer for watching Netflix. That's oh, okay. I mean, in my opinion, it's not worth it, but maybe that's the reason. Um, Let me read more comments. Ivan, without any Google search, I could, it's possible to invoke microphone. You keep saying, oh, the same concept. Okay. But I have experience with Deductive C, but I mean not like they have right now in Swift, and I didn't use it so much to be honest. Just a little bit when I was on Facebook. Well, not kind of the Deductive C, you know. Mm, but I don't know. Maybe that's a good question for later to investigate if you can bring um, an Objective C macro from to Swift. But but you will start maybe uh, after a few minutes uh, the purpose of the Swift macros. Don't worry. Um, then we have someone new here, the Alpha Soid. Apple Corporation has been receiving more revenue for intangible assets since 2008. Yeah, yeah, that's right. It's again, it's becoming a service um, company, and not only Apple. I think everyone, everyone in the industry is doing that. And I don't know you, but I I'm getting a little bit upset about the way, for example, if we want to watch content on platforms, you need to pay the subscription. But for example, Paramount has their own subscription, of course, Netflix, and Disney, and HBO, etc. So I mean, if I want just to watch any of those contents, I need to pay each of them, each of the subscriptions individually. But also, if I want, I don't know, just to make remove a background from my image, and there's a service online, probably that service will cost X number of dollars monthly or yearly. So every freaking thing is getting that kind of business model. And I mean, if you receive, I mean, in security bills, it's like, okay, you're spending a lot in those kind of services. And I don't know when we will stop that. Anyway, uh, let me double check here. I mean, I'm confused. You're actually surprised by that in 2023. Well, that's me, man. I'm living behind a rock. Um, where is this? Oh, okay. That was the question I wanted to ask you. Well, to share with you. So, foreground color is deprecated in Swift UI, or well, its mark has deprecated for from iOS 13 and 17. It's not a big deal, maybe, but it's like I saw many comments about why some people is kind of complaining about this, and makes sense. I am working in a project that has more than 300 lines of code with foreground color, and I don't know you. It's still the question: why not leaving that there and just leaving the option to the user, to the developer, to decide which if they want to use foreground color or the new one foreground style, which is like any kind of shape is accepted there, and colors are included there. But um, I don't know. Do you think we'll still, or no? Maybe my question is, what do you think about this? Do you care about it? Do you Are you concerned that maybe Swift UI or Apple is still deprecating more and more functions methods from Swift UI framework? Anyway, I will leave it there. So let me now double check my notes here. Oops, that's not like, oh, you can see here what I'm doing. What I'm doing. Okay, I have many things to share today. Okay, let me go back then to the main topic, which is, discussing Swift macros. Okay, let me just close this for now. And now let me start with one thing. Actually, yeah, this is good. This is a good intro. So I was here reviewing what's new in Swift 5.9 specifically, and one of the things is Swift macros. I don't want, yeah, things like that. So it's kind of I mean, Swift 9 introduces a lot of things this year. Well, not Swift exactly, but Swift data and other things like Vision OS, etc. But one of the biggest features announced for Swift specifically was Swift macros. And Swift macros in general are a pretty powerful tool to improve your code. But this is a tool that, you should care if you already know a little bit more of Swift. So if you are new in Swift, you're watching this and you want to learn because you really want to know this, okay, that's cool. But technically, you can use Swift, you can be a really good engineer, and probably you will need Swift macros in your daily work. Although you found something pretty specific, because the thing is, it's a tool to basically work and create your own parser to generate code. Okay, and yeah, it's not like instead of creating a function, I would create a macro. No, that's a pretty terrible idea, and you will see that in just a second. So that's one of the takeaways I want us to leave it clear. And also, I took 2 weeks to really understand the concept of Swift macros. I'm not saying are extremely complicated to get it, but definitely it's not something that you will watch just the WWDC session and you will understand everything. There is a lot of information. In fact, I was thinking to create a video about it, right? But that won't be that won't be possible. The thing is, that will be a series, not just a video, because there is a lot of information. First off, you need to understand first the definition of the macro, right? But also the different types of macros you can create, and there are many examples. There are many roles that a macro could have. You can compose many roles in a single macro, and so on, so on. So it's a lot of information. Also, how to implement it, how to test it, how to import it into your project, etc. There are many things that just one single post or video is not possible to cover. In fact, if you watch the WWDC session, let me just go here. It's new Swift, for example, expand on Swift. I would not reproduce it, but it's kind of, it's more than 40 minutes, more than 40 minutes of a video. I remember watching this on an airplane. It was like, oh my god, what I'm doing here. It's a lot. I had to watch it 3 times. And then there is another one here. Where is it? Oh yeah, it's here. Yeah, there is another one. There are also 33 minutes. Yeah, it's kind of 80 minutes of just understanding the basics. I mean, compared to how the nowadays videos from WWDC are, that are like 20 each minutes, you can figure that out, that it's a lot to cover. Okay, so let me go back to the comments just for a moment. Press F to pay respect. It's a Swift knife. Yeah, exactly. You get it. Marcos in an airplane, like lecture. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I feel the pressure from outside in the sky, and now feeling like, okay, I probably should watch something like, I don't know. Oh, no. I don't know. I'm a huge nerd. I'm sorry. Okay, let me then show you. I have something here to share. Okay. Yeah, I have it here. Okie dokie. Let me share my screen again. Okay. We already agreed that this is not an easy topic, right? It's an advanced topic. So let's move forward. Before introduce you to how to create your own Swift macro, let me show you how they can apply, or what is the purpose of creating a macro. So like I said, it's the way to generate code, or instead of you creating that code or repetitive code, there is some instructions that will generate that code for you. Okay, and that means that we are going to analyze what is the code in 2 ways. You will see that in a moment. We will grab that code, we'll understand it, and then we'll say, okay, we want to add a new attribute. We want to add, I don't know, a representation of, I don't know, instead of having an async function, let's create a closure equivalent to that function, or something like that. Instead of you writing down, that maybe is boring. So just with one single line of code, you can generate all of that for free. Okay, so for example, one of the examples or the most common examples are previews. Okay, so in the previous iteration, well, in the previous version of Xcode, you'll have to create your preview provider, blah blah blah. Okay, so now here you have just this hash symbol and then preview, and that's it. Everything inside here, it will be displayed in a preview. And this one is a declaration macro. I forgot to put here the meaning of declaration macro, but basically, there are two types of um, macros. One is freestanding. Freestanding are things like this one or like this URL that could be around anywhere in your code, and you could use it anywhere. I mean, they are not strictly attached to something. Okay, they are like a I want to call expressions because it depends. But in this case, for example, you are generating a declaration inside here, okay? And then you will see, okay, that's like a black box, right? We don't know exactly what it's doing. Well, you can, because you can just come right click and pressing expand macro, and you will see this horrible code here. But it's basically what you had to do normally in the ceremony to generate a review. Well, here is for you for free, but maybe with some other kind of monstrosity names here that are auto generated by this preview macro. Okay, there are others like I mentioned. For example, this one is an expression macro that is literally an expression, is producing an expression, and that is basically generating a string that for unwrapping a URL. Okay, and well, it's kind of cool. I mean, you could just you're saving a few words like string or the exclamation mark. Okay, it's a good example to understand. I guess if you want to, if you want to study macros, learn more about them, I will suggest to start from the freestanding macros, especially from the expression macro. And we're gonna create a custom uh, freestanding macro in just a moment. Okay, so that's one. Okay, there is another type which are called attached macro, and attached is because this guy here is attached, or it's updating, or is doing something to this particular piece of code. Okay, and uh, just to also clarify that a macro is just capable to add additional code to something that you already created, but is not capable to delete code or modify your existing code. And even worse, you shouldn't use a macro to read files or get something from network or something crazy like that. If you want to do that, you don't need a macro. You just need to create your own class or struct like regularly you have to do it. Okay. Uh, Actually, Apple, I read that Apple created a kind of sandbox, so you technically cannot do it. Although I read that there are some ways to force that, but I mean, if you are trying to force something, that's probably a signal that you shouldn't do. Okay. Let me read. Let me read more the comments, like a global functions. Yep, for this particular case, could be. Yeah. Kind of. I mean, it depends. It depends how you want to call it. But I mean, you're referring to this, right? To generate Ivan. You're making reference to this preview. Or I'm not sure what will you say about global functions. Okay. So, and well, this guy here is one called add completion handler macro, and this one is a peer macro. And this guy is like making an overloading of this function, but it's generating a closure version of this async fetch protocol. So that's it. Okay. that's what it's doing. So if you expand this macro, you will see exactly that using task and just calling their own the same function internally. But if we go here, you can see that we already have this fetch product. We haven't created by our own, but it's here, and you can use it if you need it because your code is not supporting async await for some reason. It's a pretty cool way to do it. Maybe for this example, sounds pretty trivial. Uh, Although, just think about that this one in particular, sorry, it's not supporting it's I mean, if you try to generate a throwable function, you will get an error. That is something that I would like just to improve later. And that's a cool thing about macros, that are extremely well designed to be shared across the community. So if you find someone that has have created a great macro, but maybe you think that that needs some improvement, you can collaborate. Okay. If you have any question about any of the macros we're talking here, please let me know in the comments. Okay. Okay. That's a pure macro. Then member macro. Oh, I'm glad that I added the notes here. This one, it will add more members to the declaration. So for example, we have this color here, green, blue, color enum, in some cases, right? And what is exactly doing this? Let's expand it. And look at that. We have a few computer properties just to detect, is this red? Is the instance of the num is red, the green, whatever, right? You normally have to write down this, and it's like copy pasting code, right? Which is, always a signal of a potential bug around. But here, you can use it right away. So, for example, I'll create something like this, right? X2 color dot blue. Okay, I don't know. Create like is blue equal to x dot is blue. Yeah, that's it. Pretty cool. And yeah, another thing just to mention, that you need to be very careful to hide code that definitely is not worth it to show. Okay, because here I have to give you all the context of that, is blue, is green, from this and enum. But I don't know if just having case detection attached is enough to you to understand that all those computer properties are generated. That's one thing that you need to pay attention. Just if that code is relevant, maybe that shouldn't be it shouldn't be provided from a macro. Okay, but it's a really nice, a convenience way to save your time. Next one, accessor macro. Well, the accessor macro allow a macro to add accessors to a computer property. So basically, getter and setter. Okay. So if we expand this particular example that we attach to a struct, you will see here a storage property that is internally, getting and setting what is inside of this dictionary. Okay, it's kind of obscure example, and look how the dictionary storage is attached to any of the attributes here. Next one, member attribute. The member, oh, and by the way, let me go to the definition. We haven't explored how to create our own macro yet, but look that for example, if we want to create an attached macro, we need to use this signal at attach. Okay, but look how we can create. I mean, a single macro uh, could be fulfilling many roles in the single macro. Okay, this one, for example, is an accessor macro, is also a member macro, and it's a member attribute macro all together. Okay, that's a cool part of Swift macros too. Next one is member attribute. Member attribute. Well, there is one that is member macro, and this one is member attribute macro. And basically, the difference is that here you are attaching something to the current declaration. For example, look how this wrap stored properties is attaching available to each of the properties. Okay, and here we are just creating a deprecated message to each of the attributes, and here you can see the result. Here, if we try to use X or Y, we will get some warnings from the compiler. And finally, we have conformance macro. Again, if we review this, is managing many roles, well, 2 roles in this case, but this one in particular is making the declaration is conforming to a protocol. That's it. Okay, so of course, if you want to conform something to a protocol, you can just put something like this, right? My protocol. So you don't need to write down a Swift macro for that. But the thing here is that if you are generating something, let's say, for example, I saw one example from Muhammad Assam, better known as Assam Sharp. He created a macro to generate a string form right away from a struct. Okay, if you do that, of course, that struct internally must conform to view protocol because you are creating a Swift UI view. But that's a great example to implicitly conform to that particular protocol if needed, along with other logic that you want to generate in the same Swift macro. Okay, and this one in particular, let me expand it, is just hiding a lot of boilerplate code, and at the end we are extending these shipping options to conform option set right away. Everything here is magic. What do you think? It's cool? I think it's cool. If you learn to use these tools for the purpose they were created, you will get a extremely cool machine. Okay, so I don't know. Is there any question about the different roles of macros? Looks like not yet. But anyway, if there's a question, I will go back. Yeah, Ivan is said it's great the way Xcode expand the code. Yeah, that's amazing. Otherwise, I mean, maybe command click will be the solution, but yeah, it's pretty amazing. And maybe not right away. No, would be right to command click because that will bring you to the implementation of the macro. But in fact, here you are getting what is exactly the output, the expanded code generated by the macro. That's awesome. Yeah, cool. Okay, so let me then prepare something else here. Oh, you know what? You know. Let me go to Let me just prepare a few other things that I have here. Okay. Well, we have talked a few things right now. Okay, yeah. So now I think if there are no more questions, let's go to the to show you how to create a Swift macro, right? Let me go again to present my screen. And let me go in here. But for some reason, I cannot show you. Oh, come on. Let me open this again. So let's create our own example here. Okay. So how can we do that? Well, the easiest way to do it is just click here on File, Xcode, and then New, and then Package. Yeah, macros are coming from packages. And you will see here that I'm already selected Swift macro. So you're gonna press Next. And we're gonna write down here. Now, most people thinking that, okay, this is a Swift macro, I will write down, I don't know, URL macro or whatever I want to do macro. Don't do that. This title should be something related to a library, okay? Not exactly a macro. Internally, you will have you could have different macros, not just one. That's one thing that you need to know, okay? So if that's the case, let's provide something more generic. Let's do something like, oops, what's going on with my computer? Excuse me. Okay. We go back here and write down Swift and tips. Why not, right? Swift and tips library. Create. There you go. You got the first approach of creating a macro. Okay, and you got a few resources here that you can explore. This one is just a package, so we don't care so much. I mean, I don't want to bore you with this, but definitely take a look to this one. Especially if you watch the WWDC series, you will see some explanation of how this package is working or how this is set up. But the thing here is that right away you can see an example of a predefined macro yet, which is this guy here, stringify. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that one we can see how it works from here. For example, we have a couple of integers, and if you want just to express what was the definition, I mean, what is the operands that you want to apply and the operation, and then getting the result. Okay, so here you could, if you want to run this, make sure that you are running the client. Okay, and if you press here, oh, what's going on? Oh, one more thing here. You need to select, if you want to run this, select My Mac. Every time when you are working with macros, you need to do it. What's going on here? I'm not sure. Let me compile this. Okay. Coffee break during the building operation. So reading again, reading the comments, Nutcher saying, I think there is a testing target to write tests for our implementation. Yeah, that's right. We want to see that in a moment. And Jeff is saying, are you on the latest version of beta, Xcode 15 beta 5? Yes, sir. Let me show you. Yep, Xcode 15 beta 5, just for your information. Okay, now let's go back here and run this. Yep, we have this operation, the value, the actual result. Excuse me. excuse me. Which is an int, okay, was produced by the code goal, okay? And what is the code? It's a string, okay? Yeah, this is a pretty dummy example, okay? But let me show you expand code. In fact, this code is transformed into a tuple with the actual operation that will add two numbers, and the literal code that we got from the macro. So we literally read the identifier A plus the operator and then the identifier B, and that's what we are printing here. Okay, but in order to you to understand this better, let's create our own. Okay, for this example, I will create something that I shared in a post. Let me go to Twitter. New window, Twitter. Yeah, I'm gonna write down this macro, which is a freestanding macro, and we'll generate a conversion between an integer into binary string. Okay, and I would like to hear your comments about that particular example. Okay, so let's go. The first thing here is well, identifying just the three files we have. This one is the definition that publicly will expose your Swift macro. Okay, in this case, if we import our Swift macro to if we want to export it to our project, another project, not this one, we will need to declare it here, and that's why we are using public macro here. Okay, and this is the basic definition, the declaration, right? So this guy is a generic that is returning a tuple of what you have seen yet. And internally to declare it, we are using another freestanding macro. Yeah, that is recursive. And the way you need to do it is providing the name of the module, which is Swift and tips lib macros, that is auto-generated, well, in this case, and that is this guy here, okay? And the type of the macro. The type basically is not the name of the macro, because this is the name of the macro, but this one, stringified macro, is the type that is implementing the macro, okay? So for our case, and in order to make this as fast as possible, I will create this for you. Let me just grab my notes. And we are going to declare our binary string here, okay? Just with a few differences here. So for example, here I am declaring this has a freestanding macro, okay? Let me write it down. Freestanding macro, okay? You need to use this attribute. And then here, you need to decide which will be the role of your freestanding. Could be a declaration, but in this case, will be an expression, okay? And we need to declare it public macro and the name of the macro, that the developer will use, and I don't know, is not necessarily providing an argument, but if this is the case, for example, here, we want to provide an integer, okay, and returning a string. And this will be equal to an external macro of model, this is not the right model, tips library, and this, yeah, binary string macro will be the name of our source implementation. That's one of the takeaways, that you need to be very careful when you are creating this. There are many definitions that are literal strings in your implementation for the macro, and that consumed me a lot of time when I was understanding why the hell my macro was not working. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably have seen those tweets. Yet I took like 3 days understanding why my macro is not working, why it's not, why my breakpoints are not working for some reason, blah blah blah. And I realized, okay, there was a typo in the type of the macro provided here. So just be very careful when you are writing down here. If it's not working, right away check your strings here, because probably something like this could happen. Okay, that's the first step, creating the public macro. Second, we were here, right? Yeah, we were here. So we saw this guy here already. This is kind of a playground to you to run your macro and see the results. But it's not necessarily the only way to test your macro. In fact, you have a test. No, where is it? It's here. Sorry. A test file to you to do that. Okay. So for example, here, this is auto-generated, but it's creating some assert to getting from the input of the actual Swift macro code what will be the expanded source. Okay, and you can see this, that a Swift macro is, like I said, it's transforming something like this. You can see this like a command. Okay, and this is what the actual code that Swift will see during compilation time. Okay, that's one thing. And test macros that we want to see just a moment. You can also test. Well, in this case, this is another example. You can also test diagnostic issues in the compilation time, etc. So it's pretty cool. Let me go back to the comments and see. Jeff saying, great. Force with macro had issues with building test target. Beta 4. Okay. Yeah. I also tested my issue in all the different betas until realizing, okay, it was just a stupid string. Sorry for excuse my language. Yeah, I saw a lot of issues in the previous beta, so hopefully we'll have the release candidate soon. Okay, that's it. This is the test file, and then we review also the main, and we'll review the public declaration here. Then here, it's the actual implementation or the source, the file where we are going to implement the macro. Okay. Okay. You can explore this later. I will create my own definition here for the new binary string macro. Okay. So what we need to do, first off, let's create a public struct binary string macro. Use here is valid to use the suffix macro, because this is in fact the implementation. And this one is an expression macro. Okay, this is a protocol. Of course, it's a protocol, and we need to conform something here. And this is, I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, much better. So here is the code that will do the magic for this macro. And each uh, protocol macro will have slightly a different um, function like this one. But in general, it's that. It's providing the syntax of the code you want to do, okay? And uh, from that, you need to think about that you are dealing with a syntax code. The code that is here is not your actual implementation. What I mean by that is that don't expect to uh, get, for example, if you are, I don't know, you will see in a moment why some of the macros are requesting literal values like strings or ints. Because if you provide an identifier that is an int, for example, you don't have the way to link that what is the actual value internally in memory because it's not fully compiled yet, right? You are just dealing with improving the code. Just take that in mind because that's a big difference of what it's a deal breaker if you need a Swift macro or not. Okay, if you need to actually review what is the internal value in memory, this is not the right way to do it. Okay. Okay. Cool. Let's then move on. So fair, what we will have to do, right? That's the first step. It's kind of crazy if we don't have enough information. Um, where we can start? Sorry. The first thing is okay. Let's return something that is expression syntax. Okay, just right away. Expression syntax, and there are many ways to express something. Okay, so let's use something like this. Okay, hopefully this will work. Okay, so one of the ways to test this is just creating breakpoints. Okay, and let me actually create a test right away for this guy. Okay, so here we're going to create a public test. Test. And there is in, and oh yeah, it's the draws. Okay. Let me see if I can get something. Yeah, I will copy and paste this right away. Sorry. Oh, what's going on with my code? Paste it again. You move it, please. There we go. Thank you, sir. Okay, you will see, okay, why your code is great? Oh, because I'm not using the right macro. So here we want to use with tip clips macro. There you go. Okay. So it's cool because here you can see right away if you are putting the right library here or not. Okay. So we want to provide this binary string and then generate this code. Okay. Now, one very important thing here is don't forgetting the string definition of your macro here. So here you need to literally copy this and define in this dictionary what will be the macro attached to that string, which will be this guy here. That's so. This is But this is extremely important because if you don't do this, your test will not work. I mean, you will run it, but it will generate a fail, even if it's, regardless if it's good or not, if it's passing or not. So it will be completely ignored. So be very careful with that. And also, now that I remember, there should be a way. Oh yeah, let's do this right away here, providing macros. Otherwise, your macro will not work in in the main file. So binary string macro.set. There you go. Okay, let's go back to here. Yep. Now we can run our test. Okay, we got something, and I'm gonna stop the test right now because for some reason there is a bug in beta 5 that is putting everything green. Okay, there we go. Now here you have two parameters. Let me remember exactly context. Context is, am I using context here? Let me see what is exactly providing context. Context of that. Yeah, context is, let's go right away because I saw a few things here. There are some utilities for you to, I don't know, for example, if you need to generate a new identifier, but you want this guy to be internally unique, you could use this guy. Make unique name, diagnose, I don't know, to detect if, for example, if you want to, if there is something wrong with your definition for your macro, you can throw an error or you can just throw a warning. Okay, it's not explicitly necessary to throw an error, a compilation error right away. So and location. Okay, yeah, good things, right? So, but most of the time you will use no. No, this is exactly the source of truth of this. No. I know what? Are you crazy? Yeah. Huh. Excuse me? Okay, what about this? Okay, it looks like Xcode don't want to work today. Let's do something. Let's print, yeah, the classic and see what happens. Come on, you. Huh. What is this guy doing? Oh, there you go. So, as you can see here, Node is generating the something called abstract syntax 3. No, not 3, not number 3. 3. Sorry. It's hard to me because I'm speaking Spanish and those kind of words are confused to me. But let me stop right away to show you something really important. Abstract syntax. There we go. Like I said, you are not working with your own implementation, your default implementation. You are working with code. Your that node guy is your source file that will be analyzed. Okay, and that's basically providing an abstract syntax tree that basically is the definition of your syntax. So, for example, if you're providing, I don't know if it's Swift or whatever, but it's kind of the way you could get the different statements, expressions in your code. Okay, that node guy is coming from a library for free that is here, Swift syntax. And it's basically a great resource in order to you to manually review line by, identify which is the token and parse everything. Well, that thing is doing that for free, okay? And well, that makes the work really easy. But for some reason, I'm not sure why I'm not getting that. Anyway, I will speed up things because otherwise we will be hours debugging why Xcode is not working. So the thing here, in order to generate or expanded macro, we need first to go back here. Okay, so what we need to do is this guy here, expected expression. Expander source should not contain any syntax error, but contain spandex source. Yeah, syntax tree was okay. Blah 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 blah. Identifier. Am I doing it wrong? Am I doing something wrong here? Maybe it's because this guy. But anyway, we want to get the argument, okay? The argument of this macro. So in order to do that, we will need to use this guy in guard. Let argument equal to node dot argument list. We're gonna get first because there's only one without expression, and this should be done. This should be here for sure. There's no way you cannot get an argument. Otherwise, you will get a syntax error right away. Why? Because this is the declaration, the definition of the binary string syntax. If you are not providing the argument here, you will get a compile issue right away without you, throwing that error manually. Okay. If it's not the case, for some reason, that's because an asteroid's about to destroy the error because, well, that's a compiler issue, not your issue. Okay, let's put a fatal error here because it's expected that you should catch right away in your development. What is this? Oh yeah, else. Thank you. Okay, that's it. We got the argument, and now what we should do? Yeah, I'm gonna do it right. Yeah. Now, once we got the argument, actually, let's run again. Okay, let me stop again because Xcode is not cooperating. Now let's dot argument. Yeah, as you can see, we are getting the integer literal 111. Okay, that's a good signal. Now, what we can do simply is just creating a number from that string. Well, integer literal, but technically it's not the actual value of 111. Okay, remember, it's just a piece of code. It's just a string there, but it's recognized as an integer literal. So for us, to make this simple, maybe there's a better way to do this, but I did it like this. Let's put it here. Put here and put argument. Okay. Else. What should happen here? For example, let's say that you are not providing an string. An int. Okay, you are providing something else. So here we need to throw something. Okay, but we don't know exactly what. So in order to do that, it's pretty simple. We can just generate our own code to throw errors. Okay, so here I have one code right away that is just an enum of binary string error, that is an error, and it's a custom string convertible. I'm adding here the case that this is not an int, and adding a description. Let's move description for now, just to show you why this is important. Okay, but here we're gonna put binary string error that this is not an int. Okay, if we got everything, then we can just now get the binary string equal to string, and we're gonna pass the num and radix number 2. This will convert the number into a binary string. Yeah, you can read more about it if you're curious about this. Radix is just providing what is the base of the number. Okay. So now here we have the binary string, so we can then provide binary string. Okay. Is this right? And now build fail. Yeah. Okay, let's remove this for now. And let's run the test now. Why our test is not passing? Why our test is not passing, my friends? Did I forget something? Let me show. No, right? This is okay. Anyone has any clue about why this is not working? Okay. Yeah, that's that's kind of the issues found here, that the compiler is kind of not clear why the situations with the expected and actual code expanded it. But let me go back to what we are generating here. Let me, instead of using this, I have another example with this. I'm not sure if this is something, but I just modified this. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, let me review expression syntax. String syntax. Okay. Let me see. So we were using this value in string interpolation. Syntax expressible by string interpolation. Okay. Cool, but this is not helping me. And literal. This saying return a syntax tree for an expression that represents the value provided instance. Okay, I totally, honestly, I'm not sure exactly why is the difference or why this is not working. So I will leave it. I will create a post after that later. But the thing is that using this expression, this one is, how can I say, getting, or you are providing not a string, but it's little expression from the syntax. It's weird to explain, but what I'm trying to say is that this is getting this even though this is a string, is getting in has a part of the code and not exactly a string value from the implementation that you're trying to do. But the thing is that is putting it as a part of the code that you want to do. Okay, but as you can see, it is working. Okay, Now, what will happen if we try here with, instead of having this, let's I don't know, print this binary string. Okay, so I'm gonna put 10, for example. If we run this code, look that we are getting, this string into converted as a binary string. Okay, but what will happen if we got something else? Well, first off, this is not an issue from our macro. This is a normal issue from Xcode, right? From the compiler, because we are not providing as an int, but we are getting a string. So yeah, that's cool. But look at that. So for example, if we have x equal 10, we are trying to pass x, we are throwing the issue that we are creating, not an int. But this is kind of, I mean, this is literally the enum case provided. So instead of that, that's why we are generating all of this. Custom string, what's that one? String convertible. And we are providing a better description. Instead of throwing this, not an int, we want to return the argument is not an int literal. Okay, there you go. Now the compiler is capable to recognize the issue. So again, this is happening because we are not dealing with the actual implementation from your code. So this macro cannot, I mean, maybe this kind of macro cannot identify that x is equal to 10, because internally this is not yet in memory. This is just x. You are just providing an identifier x, and maybe you could identify that type x is an int with more definition. I mean, but the point here is that most of the time you can see, for example, a warning. Warning is always expecting something that is a string literal, okay? But if you try to do less string equal to something like that, right? You can get string and look the issue. Yeah, it's expected a string literal in warning, okay? Because this is macro is not capable to understand that the string internally in memory is this string, because it doesn't exist in memory yet. So I hope that part is clear. But what you can do, by the way, is, for example, providing here binary 10 right away, okay? And then you can provide x, and you can run this code and generate your code, okay? And you can expand it and look that instead of providing the binary string, it's actually understanding 1010 in this string definition. I don't know if you have any questions so far. I don't know if you're still there, by the way. I'm seeing four people. Hello, if you're new. Okay. That is that's the way how you could define a binary string here. Now, a Swift string in this Swift string. Sorry, it's too late already. A Swift macro. In this case, we are creating a binary string macro. Okay, this pretty straightforward example, and probably you don't need it. You don't need to create a macro for that. Let's be clear for that. This is just for you to understand the concept of how you could define a macro. Okay? Two more things before closing. We already test the happy path, right? Providing a string 111 or a literal int, sorry, and we are generating this. But we can also test our failures in the compilation, okay? To do that, we are going to create another test. So this guy, I'm going to copy paste this one that I have here in my notes because, yes, we are running a little bit out of time here. And let me use Swift and tips library macro. And here, for example, we are creating binary string hello. Okay, we are passing a string literal. And look how the expanded code is nothing, because this is an error. Okay, so this is the way. At the beginning, I was expecting to, okay, the expanded source will say something like, the argument is not an integer, but that's not right. The expanded source in this test should be the actual right assert, the right output. Okay, if it's not providing something because there is a compile issue, then it should be blank. Okay, but look, in the case we want to test the diagnostics, is this way: is providing a list of issues, because it could be many more than one. Okay, so providing a diagnostics, an array of diagnostics, and using diagnostic specs with the message you are expecting. Okay, and well, the line of the column, but this is just one if it's just one issue. Okay, so if we run this, look how this is working as expected. Okay, if I expecting something, let's say, for example, this will fail, of course, because the expected was 1, but the actual is nothing. Okay, that's a cool way just to see this. Okay, and one more thing about one more thing related to test is, for example, this test here. In this example, look, let me just also use the right macro, because I was using another example with another name. So this is another example. It's similar, but just to give you a heads up, for example, that if you want to test that we are passing an int, but it's not a literal int, it's a variable of type int, this will happen. This binary string will not generate nothing, but your previous code will still there. Okay, and it will generate the issue that we saw earlier. Okay, that's another thing that I learned when I was testing this, that everything else that you put here should be expected in the expanded source, because it's not touched. Okay, let's run this one more time. There you go. it's working. So yeah, we have all these three tests for this test binary um, implementation. Okay. So if you're still there, let me now use this in an actual project. So let's close this guy. And now let's go here to add package dependencies. This is the demo we used at the beginning. And the project is not online, right? It's local. So we're going to use add local. And we're going to explore the source and we're going to open it here. Swift and tips library. It will start doing the magic. And I think you just need the library. I think you don't need the client. Okay. Let's compile this. Okay, cool. Now we can go here and yeah, first you need to import Swift and tips library. And binary, where are you? Yeah, there we go. And we can use this. We can print it here. Oh, what just happened? Xcode. I got a crash in the middle of the session. Cool. Cool. Let me open it. Oh, okay. Let's do this one more time. Binary. There we go. 10. And let's use x equal to binary string. Oh, okay. Nothing happened. Sure. Swift. Swift library. Okay. It's already exported. Cool. And print. If we run this, let's see what happened. Wow, it took a while, but look at that. Here we're getting the binary string, and this is totally a new project external from the Swift macro package that we just created. Okay, cool. So definitely we are running out of time, really bad. I think I had another example, but probably I will share it in the next session, just to give you an actual situation that will be good for you to apply Swift macro. This was just an experiment to give you the basics of what is a Swift macro, right? So remember the takeaways here. Oops, let me just grab my notes back. So first off, macros aren't trivial. They are not expected to be used like a regular code. Okay, it's just to analyze and add additional code or improve or try to generate boilerplate code for you. Okay, but it's not something like another way to create functions. Okay, this is at compile level. That means You are not capable to get what is the actual value of an ID or a variable. Okay, you cannot use that. But you can get what is the type, what is the identifier, and all the things related to the abstract syntax tree. Okay, and the meaning of expansion is literally removing that code that you generate from with the this case with the freestanding macro, and and putting there the expander or the output of your macro. And you can also use diagnostics to generate compile throw an error, but using diagnostics in your test to get actually the cases where there's a compile issue because you're using the macro in the wrong way. So hopefully you learn something, and please, if you have any feedback for me for the later sessions, please let me know in the comments, or also, in my social media, Twitter or LinkedIn. You will find me as at Swift and Tips in all those places, also Mastodon. And oh, that's it from me, everyone. I don't know if you have any question. It looks like there's no one here. So, okay. For those that watch at the beginning, thank you so much and have a great day.